Sometimes it's scary being a little boy alone in the dark. It gets scarier when you feel something moving around under the covers. Maybe scariest of all is when whatever that is pokes its head out and it looks a little like a long snake. But you know that it's not a snake. How do you know?
"Hi," it says. "My name is Nicker."
All of this happened to Danny. And like you, he was too smart to think it was a snake. Snakes don't talk. They hiss. The two looked at each other for some moments. Both were puzzled. What was it? And how had it come to be under the covers in Danny's bed? Very quickly, Danny could no longer be afraid of this creature. It wasn't a snake, and it could talk. And then it came to Danny.
"You're a sea dragon!"
Nicker twisted his head in a funny way and said,
"Oh, of course I am. What else would I be?"
Well, that made sense. Danny sure couldn't argue it. Nicker leaned forward, looked Danny in the eye, then sniffed Danny's arm and neck.
"What are you?"
"I'm a boy." Nicker sniffed more and asked,
"What's a boy?"
"It's me," Danny answered. Well, Nicker sure couldn't argue that. He sniffed one more time, then backed up through the sheets fast. His mouth fell open and his eyes went wide.
He stuck on the words, "You're a human!"
Danny smiled big and used Nicker's own words.
"Of course I am. What else would I be?"
Nicker backed off more. Only his nose and eyes could be seen from beneath the sheets. The sheets shivered. Nicker was afraid. To Danny, everything had turned around. He was the one who was supposed to be afraid. This strange creature had come into his bed. He should be afraid. But now he found himself wanting to let this sea dragon named Nicker know that there was no danger.
"What are you afraid of?"
Danny asked. Nicker went deeper under the sheets and whimpered,
You're human. Humans hunt sea dragons. You shoot us with big sharp harpoons. I've heard all about it."
Danny leaned back against his pillow and thought a moment, and then said, "I remember a story about sea dragons that ate a whole bunch of sailing ships and all the sailors. Maybe I should be afraid of you." Nicker jumped up from the sheets.
"I would never do that. Whoever said that has it all wrong."
Danny was already smiling. The goofy grin that Nicker gave in return had Danny rolling against the pillow behind him, laughing. If you've ever seen a shy sea dragon grin, you know exactly what I mean. You just can't see such a thing and not want to laugh. Brave now, Nicker came out and began sniffing, and it tickled. As Nicker's long body and nose worked its way all around Danny's giggling body, he kept saying things like, "No harpoon, no harpoon, no harpoon. I smell cat food. No harpoon. Oh, is that peanuts? Oh, I love peanuts." "I had a peanut butter sandwich," Danny said. Nicker had a puzzled look and asked, "What's a sandwich?" Danny explained how you take slices of bread and put things in between, like peanut butter. Nicker was still puzzled. "What is bread?" Have you caught on yet why Nicker was so puzzled? Imagine a loaf of bread in the ocean. It would get soggy and fall apart. Nicker had never seen bread. Nicker was trying hard to understand and finally said, "I have something like that. My mom takes seaweed and sliced sea apples and puts it between two oyster shells. It's so crunchy." The more they talked, the more each learned how different they were and how much the same. Nicker was born in the water. Danny was just learning how to swim. Danny would talk about his favorite TV show. Being from the sea, Nicker didn't know what television was. You can't plug in a TV or even a radio underwater. Nicker knew of strange creatures deep in the ocean. Danny had only seen them in books. But then, Nicker didn't have books, because they get all soggy in the water. Danny had skin and hair on his arms. Nicker had scales and no arms at all. Danny told Nicker about the new bicycle he got, and again, Nicker was puzzled. Danny explained, "You get on top and you pedal it with your feet down a bike path. Don't you have bike paths?" Nicker looked at Danny, then down at his long body and said, "No feet." Can you think of other ways sea dragons and people are different and are the same? Danny was about to find out, and so are you. For now, we'll leave the two boys alone so they can talk about things. I wonder what they're talking about. Don't you?